this one protesting in Warsaw. Well, there you have it, folks. The world is crumbling around us, which is like an amazing thing. People look at that as like that's some bad thing, or the world's coming to an end. No, the centralized world is coming to an end. The world where centralized entities, third parties, trusted third parties, get to control your life, get to say what kind of food you can eat, what kind of fertilizer you can put on your food or not, buying up the farmland, taking your money away from you, bailing you in. I just had one of my friends tell me about a story of them growing up in Macedonia and in Yugoslavia, in that area, and the hyperinflation, 62% a day in the early 90s when the Berlin Wall fell. Then the banks actually came in over the next year or two and stole all of his grandparents' wealth, all of it they had saved in the bank. So you're telling me the pensions, 401ks, insurance companies, the banks, the credit unions, all that's safe, right? Right? You know that. You can guarantee that. We've already had banks collapse here many times. We've just had them collapse last year. More are coming. It's going to get worse before it gets better. The people that can see the patterns and that can see what's coming position themselves appropriately for what is coming. Again, politics is downstream from culture. And as people continue to wake up like this, like the protests that are happening all around the world, and people realizing they don't need centralized entities, command and control economies running their lives. This is happening all over the world. People waking up because of social media. We get to see what's going on. Courage is contagious. There are strength in numbers. This is very important. Very, very important to be able to see what is actually happening here and actually understand that we have a huge role to play in this. The freedom-loving, liberty-loving people in this world will drive things forward. The 3%. Into the breach we go. The beautiful part is there's no better game. There's no bigger game to play than this. That's it. Our kids, our grandkids, your name will live in infamy. Your name will live into perpetuity for the people that stood, just like the founding fathers of America. This is, someone just coined this recently, the refounding fathers of America are now. And the refounding fathers of the world, of a decentralized world, or a centralized world into a decentralized world. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. That's what we're doing. That's what is happening right now. It's people all over the world. It's Bukele coming here to CPAC and saying, America it can't be trusted about democracy or republics. It can't be listened to. This is a crock. Here in this world, we are now questioning these things because of social media. For all the ills, there's a lot of positive that comes from it as well. And it's sharing, it's building community, doing what we're doing here, seeing there's people all over the world that believe like we do. Because we, for the most part, the majority of people have been just patted down into a corner in silence, thinking that we are separate, as the weapons of mass formation have been able to silence us, distract, divert, polarize, divide us, and think that we're just alone. We're going crazy by ourselves, and we're the crazy person. We're the people that need to be locked up somewhere. When in reality, it's always life that gets more centralized in the beginning and then gets more and more decentralized. Life has just become more and more decentralized as time has gone on. With the separation of church and state, the printing press, now we have separation of money and state. We now have the separation of media and state. These things will only continue to perpetuate. And it's all to behoove us and increase our freedom, lower the cost of living, increase the standard of living. This is happening right now, guys. This is happening. There will be pockets of chaos and terrible things that happen. But when we stand together, nothing is impossible. This is the beauty of where we're going, the abundance on the backside of this. The people standing up all over realizing that they are the ones in control. The governments work for them. And we have let for too long, a few people at the top and a few governments at the top think that they run the world and they are what we are scared of, when in reality it's them that should be scared of us. Governments are there to work at the behest of the people, as the founding fathers in America so aptly said. They are there, the government's institutions there to work at the behest of the people, period. End of story. That is it. You're not put here on earth. I'm sorry, this is my opinion, but I would have to believe it's fact. We were not put here on this opinion by our creator to just work as a cog in a wheel, on a hamster wheel, for some other person that's counterfeiting currency in their basement and stealing your livelihood every single day through inflation. Your time and energy being sucked away without your say. Do you really think that the higher power put you on earth for that? Be real. This is the world we are in now. And this is the world that we are forcing them to live in. I have so many people still that say, well, yeah, but like government's not going to let us do that. Whatever it is, whether it's money we use or whatever. Politics is downstream from culture. If enough people change and are educated and seeing this and protesting and figuring out what's going on and getting the education out, guess what? We will force the change. Politicians will become us. and we will become the politicians, and government will change. If not, it will defund itself. It will defund itself, and it will go away completely. Maybe it stays for a while, but it becomes less and less powerful because it's defunded. Because we now have the money that can't be printed endlessly. We're not the cogs in the wheel anymore. We aren't the one powering the system, turning the crank and keeping electricity on. As Bukele said, taxes are there to create the illusion that government is doing something. When you look at that line items and you see, oh, there's, cow for transgender surgeries and stuff like that, that should just say next to it, AKA paying off Bernie's fourth house, or AKA paying off, Cocaine Mitch's, whatever, private villa. This is what it should say. Someone needs to come out and put the actual thing. So, we're doing crazy carbon studies off the reef of, Bill Gates' yacht in in Barbados. That should just say, AKA, we're paying off, who knows, Greta. We're paying off Kamala Harris. That should just say what it's actually doing, right? And it just give you the translation of what's actually happening. But we can't even get to these things and audit these things anymore because our politicians won't even pass bills to audit things. So this is where the system is coming unglued, and the people in the centralized rooms, just like the FDIC, which we've shown here, I should show on here actually, but the people in the centralized rooms have showed us that. I'll try to even look it up while we're doing this, but the people in the centralized rooms have showed us that, oh yeah, we can't do this anymore because this whole thing is falling apart. So I'm going to try to get this in here really quick. I want to get one of these little clips of the FDIC literally admitting that things are collapsing and there's nothing we can do about it. And so we don't really need to tell people, though. I don't know if that would be a great idea to actually tell someone. So here we are.
They're going to be. People need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim, right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Your leaders leading you, and you're telling me your third party is fine, right? They didn't allow people in for life-saving care, for health care over the last few years because they didn't get something injected in their body, an experimental drug injected in their body, and they were denying people to even come in if they didn't have that thing. 10 years ago, we were forced. That was the slippery slope. We were forced to get Obamacare. That was the slippery slope. Government mandating you to do something. That was the Rubicon that for me, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, that was crossed for me when I realized we just went communist. We are now forced by our government to do things. That's not America. I don't care. I don't know what you call it, but that's not America. That's not how we were founded. That's not what made us great. So now we've crossed the Rubicon. Now we're seeing the remnants of this, and it's only begun. So are we going to stand? This is the thing. If we stand, and more people stand now, this doesn't have to last very long. Politics is downstream from culture. If a few people stand, the 3%, 5% stand, it changes overnight. That's the beauty of this. And it doesn't take anything crazy. It's over in minutes, hours, days. The right amount of people standing together in solidarity and saying, no, government works for us. That's where we are. And you're telling me you're watching stuff like that. People just take it like sheep. No more. Please share us out. The algorithm hates truth. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. Trust but verify what we're talking about. I try to give the receipts here more, upping the technology here. If you appreciate what we're doing here and you feel so inclined to send us some sats, the lightning address down there. This is our full-time thing. I probably won't ever put monetization on here just so people can easily watch this stuff and we can get sats in other ways and provide value in other ways. The creator economy, the value for value economy, providing real value and not being sucked in and being, Robert Breedlove just did it, not being sucked in by the advertisers and having to, have your livelihood based off of what other people are trying to tell you to do. I don't even want to play that game. That's absolutely opposite of what I want to be. I want to provide value, real value, and not be the best of other people telling me what to do or not. So there's other ways to monetize and other things we will do, whether it's, newsletters and things of that nature and private groups and, Discord groups or whatever it is, Boxer channels, and actually having the right people to sponsor the show and things of that nature. So appreciate you, but tips are the big thing, the big way. So I appreciate you. Someone sent a 20,000 sat tip the other day, a couple days ago. I didn't see it and they didn't put who did it. So thank you so much for one of you who did that. I'm very grateful, very, very grateful for the 20,000 sats, 250,000 sats per human on Earth. That's it. That's all there is. That's all there will ever be. 250,000 sats per human on Earth. So I appreciate you more than you know. More than you know. Truth will set you free. Into the breach we go. Trust but verify. And this is not financialized. It is freedom advice. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Oh, and go get your cards. If you want to educate, if you want to really get after it, we've got ways to educate, folks. We've got the ways to educate. So the cards up here, we're going to be doing more and more of this going forward about how to educate. What do we actually do? What are we actually doing to educate the public and move life forward in fun and interesting ways? So we'll do some separate content on this, obviously, going forward, but much more to see here. All the cards from Series 2. Appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.